Hi, I'm Phil from Driftworks, this is my buddy Jay, and this is the DW86. We probably need to start thinking about getting it ready for LZ Fest because it's in like 2 and a bit weeks or something.
2.5 weeks you've got to leave?
Yeah, Jay and I have just got back from the Nürburgring.
Excuse our tired eyes this morning.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a good few years older after that tow journey. You may or may not have seen a video before this one comes out of us doing some laps. So yeah, the 86. Guess what the last event we used it at was? That's right, it was LZ Fest. It's been here parked up ever since. As I've mentioned before, I don't really do much drifting anymore. In fact, I don't really do any drifting anymore. There's not really anywhere in the UK that's any good for it. I know it sounds really miserable, but I still love drifting itself.
We used to do drifting and we were just, you know, I wouldn't say working in McDonald's, but not far off.
Yeah, when we had real jobs, we used to spend...
We used to have credit cards and like Kahoot loans.
Exactly, you were the worst at that.
No, you were bad.
Oh, Jay was so... I had a Kahoot loan, but Jay went into the bank and asked for...
I didn't ask.
Oh.
They sent me a letter one day and they said, this was a good old days.
Yeah.
Would you like a £10,000 loan, a £5,000 credit card and a £2,500 overdraft? So I just went down, signed the form and took the lot.
And then what did you build?
No, I already had the Corolla then. No, I just had that because they offered it.
But then you spent all that money on the Corolla. He had an 86 and it was absolutely sick.
Yeah.
And he used to batter the hell out of it as well, which is really cool. So yeah, times have changed somewhat. They're a little more reluctant to lend people money.
I was only about 22.
Destroyed ourselves financially. Borrowing money sucks. Don't do it to do fun stuff unless you want to, and then just deal with the consequences afterwards.
Go bankrupt, that's my tip. Wish I did.
You were close, you were real close. It really was, honestly. So let's step away from our terrible decisions when we were younger.
Don't listen to us.
Yeah, into the current day and what we need to do to get this ready. So I usually make a list of things when I've finished an event, when we're driving back, when we're towing, I get somebody to do a little list. And I don't think the list is particularly huge on this. We have... I made a mistake when setting the hydraulic release bearing clearance to the clutch. I completely messed it up and it was way too small. Yes, yeah, exactly. So it needs a bigger gap, and the what that's meant is that the clutch pedal is right at the top of the pedal at the moment. The engagement point is, and that means that the clutch is about to destroy itself, or maybe has destroyed itself already. We just have to see. So we've got to get this on the ramp. Pull the gearbox off, it's got the quaif on it. We've had that off a few times for various clutch issues over the years, so there should be no drama, hopefully.
I haven't, I'll add.
Have you not? It's always me and Craig, isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually in the back of someone's trailer or something at an event, but no. We'll get this on our 2-poster. We'll have a look at what we need to do with that. And because that sounds like quite a small amount of work that needs doing to that, that is the slightest, this big, slightest possibility that I might be really dumb and attempt to get that ready to take instead, because I don't think I can take 2 cars as much as I'd like to. There's a lot more that needs doing to this.
Well, we don't really know yet.
No, that's really the issue in itself, isn't it? That it's an
really
unknown quantity.
Looked and made a list apart from fuel lines.
Yeah, we know that all the fuel lines need replacing, and we also know that it will likely, it does need mapping at the very least. And getting a decent mapper to fit you in 2 weeks after we've done the work, if we can do it, it's just not very likely to happen. But we're basically saying that we're going to do this, and if there's any time left over, we're going to have a look at trying to get this ready. But as I say, very, very slim chance.
I guess we'll know by the end of this week.
I would have thought so, hopefully. Yeah. So let's crack on with it.
Is it going to run? It's been a while.
Good point.
It's normally a good one.
We moved it for...
of course we did.
Show, didn't we?
Yeah, that was only a month or so, wasn't it?
Which that's just out. If you haven't already gone and watched the Late Break Show, where Johnny comes and chats shit with me about all my cars, that's out now. Head over there and have a look. while I make some noise.
Oh, I've got no earplugs.
Oh, she's a noisy beast.
Stinks.
To get it under?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Should probably go and have a look at the rules as well, because somebody told me that they might be using just road tyres. So what that means, I don't know. I might go and have a quick look at the rule book while Jay gets this loaded.
Before you buy some tyres.
Yeah.
If only you'd just have cars that fitted on the ramp.
Well, this one I thought did, but obviously not.
No.
It's a bit laminated at the back.
There goes nothing. Better start turning some bolts to the left and wangle this thing out. Gearbox is out, clutch is now out. Thought we'd better inspect it before we go machining parts to make something fit that's not within spec, but how are we looking?
You have to measure it in those funny American thingies. What are
Foreign.
they? Foreign.
Foreign or old?
Inches, is that how you say it? Inches? Or points of an inch?
It's all too confusing for our small European brains. Young, I should say young, small European brains, because Craig knows what they are, because he's ancient.
Yeah. But no, it's really good. It's a quartermaster clutch, and on their site it says 0.104 of whatever those things are.
Yeah.
Is a brand new disc. So
what we got?
We have. Well, I just had it at 0.103.
103.
So yeah.
It's basically
10. It's basically brand new.
Or newer than new.
Yeah, it's bigger. No. And then you got the floaters here, which are on other clutches we tend to have issues with these warping. Don't know whether you can see that, but that is mint. That is straight. So basically what you're looking for is, does it contact the straight edge there and there the exact same amount? Because even a slight difference means that that's had a lot of heat and it's warped it. But that's really good, that one.
I can't remember how much this clutch has done, to be fair. One round?
One. We put it in for LZ Fest last year.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, but it's our flywheel. It's quite, we made our own flywheel that kind of has a little bit more weight to it. Because the original flywheel that we used to use was it was like a 2 kilogram flywheel. We had all sorts of issues with, well, we actually thought that it might be contributing to the snappiness of the car. When you lift off throttle, it would stall the engine so hard because it's such a lot of metal in the engine. Basically being 7.4 litres. In reality, it made no difference at all. But what it does do is disperse heat much better than the smaller flywheel. We've, touch wood, been pretty lucky with clutches since we made that custom flywheel. So yeah, 1.0 exactly as it should be, literally exactly.
So yeah, it's done one event and it's still brand new.
Looking
Perfect.
good so far. So I can see just here.
Which side are we looking? This side?
It's going to be very, very hard to see on camera, but it is ever so slightly low on the inside. But we're talking about, not even like 0.2 of a millimetre. So again, not to worry about with that. And you can move these around if you're careful as well. So I might stack that one in a different place once I've measured them all. Just sort of even up the wear a little bit.
What have you found?
Here's how you get to the last one. You always think you're doing really well. Never count your chickens until they've hatched, because look at that. Can you see it?
Yeah, you can see gap through there.
Yeah, so touching perfectly here, and on this side, I'd say you're looking at 1.5 mil there. So that one is warped.
So what do we do with that? Seeing as I guarantee if we order one, it won't turn up.
Well, we're going to have to see whether we can get one, because yeah, that can't go back in when that's like that.
Okay, while we wait and see if we can get parts reasonably quickly from America, which never seems to be the case when it comes to spare parts, let's move on to this one. It's going to fire up beautiful now, isn't it?
Jay's fixed it so it has all of the 6 cylinders working.
Yeah,
Oh, we forgot one thing.
What?
You know, I'm all excited about potentially just changing the hoses and getting the thing mapped.
Yeah.
What's the main thing?
Well, I thought you were just going to crack on with left-hand drive, to be honest. So I thought you got a left-hand drive E30. What's you moaning about?
Yeah, I can drive a left-hand drive E30 on track, but drifting is a very different thing that requires lots of like things going on. There's so much going on.
I tell you what I struggle with left-hand drive, knowing where the back of the car is when it steps.
Right.
Like because you sort of get used to right-hand drive and you know where that corner is, but when it's the other way, I'm lost.
Yeah, I have drifted left-hand drive cars. It didn't go very well.
Didn't you put one in the wall at Irwindale?
I did, yeah.
Someone else's car. Yeah.
That was a bad day. Well, it wasn't really, but I was supposed to be there in my S14. And for whatever reason that didn't happen. I ended up having to borrow a left-hand drive S13, which was quite a nice car, but initially had massive clutch problems, and they wanted me to buy a replacement clutch even though it failed when I got there. And then they fixed it for me overnight. Main show happened and I put it in the wall in qualifying. I can't even remember.
Classic Irwindale business, I suppose. That's been a few years, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was the world event where...
It was 2006 it was.
Yeah, Vaughan getting one, I'm sure.
Oh, it was the first time that he beat, the Japanese got beat, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is left-hand drive and I'm not drifting a left-hand drive car.
So forget seeing that in Mondello, but we'll get it out anyway.
You never know, it might happen. I just need a rack and a dash and about 2 weeks of fabrication.
Well, good job we've got 2 and a bit weeks. Not mint.
But sounds a little bit ducky.
I don't know, I can't hear anything from out here, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. You can't hear it out there, it sounds really smooth, but in here it's just like a little bit of a mechanical knocking. I wouldn't say knocking, but yeah, we need the sump off it really, don't we?
You need to, well, we've got a year. Yeah.
LZ Fest 2004, see you there.
2004, yeah.
2004. Will be, if it's 2024 and let's say it's in July again, we'll probably leave this there
where it is
until
at least May.
June.
Yeah. And then go, oh, we can't get a clutch disc.
And I'll go, oh yeah, it's still left-hand drive.
Yeah. Well, now we've got it on here, the plan has changed again.
I don't know what's wrong with me at the moment. I just can't remember things. I think it's too many cars, too much going on. But yeah, I think we're going to drop the gearbox off this because it's a V160 or 161 and worth an absolute fortune. And I should probably just get it inspected and sold, really, because I think we need the quaif in it, don't we? We need a sequential.
Be better.
And yeah, having just sat in it to move it around here, sitting in there, you're like, dash, yeah, I knew about needing a new right-hand drive S15 dash.
Pedals?
But then you look at, yeah, pedals, like, definitely need that, but you look at everything else and you're like, oh yeah, it just needs completely rewiring.
Because we've got, what, AIM, PDM, AIM dash?
I think that's what we need to do, isn't it? And yeah, there's quite a lot of work to do. So yeah, we'll just start with taking it to pieces, and then probably we're going to have a look at the shells as well in the engine.
Take the sump off at least.
Yeah, take the.
We just checked the oil pressure, haven't we? And it's got reasonable oil pressure, we think.
It's just below 6 bar cold start, or you know, probably 20 degrees oil temp, which is pretty decent, I think. So not too worried about that, but maybe I'll still get it inspected. It'd be better if we didn't have to take that out, but. Yeah, we've got to go backwards to go forwards, basically. So let's start with getting the gearbox off and
the sump out.
Yeah, making it no longer move under its own steam.
Another pusher.
Yeah.
I've drained the oil through this strainer. There's nothing horrific and metally in it. It does stink though. It smells a lot like the rotten fuel that was in the tank, so it's probably not an ideal sign, but it did run really badly when we got it back, and one of the spark plugs certainly wasn't firing. That might explain a bit of that, but I'll get some of this stuff off and then it's time to get the sump off.
So that was good. This was good. No debris. I mean, this looks okay. This engine appears to kind of be the same spec as when I left it. So I think it was always standard rods, but with Marla pistons, which I think you can just about maybe make out up there. So yeah, forged pistons, and it's got ARP rod bolts and mains as well. And all we're going to do is quickly drop off main at a time, just inspect the bearings there as much as we can, and yeah, hope for the best. Hopefully we can just inspect and put it back together, eh?
Hope so.
We've got our torque wrench, we've got our torque specs, we've got our ARP grease, we're ready to go.
Yeah, come on then. Let's see if I'm strong enough to take these off. Just about. Ready?
Fingers crossed. That needs replacing.
Yeah, brilliant. Means the top one does too.
Yep.
Okay, at what point?
Show me the face of joy.
At what point do we call full rebuild and take the engine out? Like first one, or are we going to take some more apart first?
I think we need to have a proper look, but yeah, I'm not happy with that going back in. So
okay.
We'll have a look at some more. We're just torquing these caps back up properly. I'm sure there's engine builders screaming at us right now going, you're supposed to do it equally to the
Need more room for this.
doing up pattern, but yeah, one at a time.
Well, yeah, we don't really want to bend the crank if we can help it.
And I think
we know
based
it's
on
coming
that,
out again. Yeah.
that first inspection, you know, of the very first bearing, I think this engine's coming out. Number 2 main doesn't look good. I've just wiped off the crank though, and although there is a mark in that area, I don't know whether you can see. Focus. It doesn't look like it's ruined the crank so far. But yeah, if I remember correctly, things generally tend to get worse towards the back of these engines, so I'm not overly optimistic. Let's crack on. Number 3. Oh, you stupid torch.
Trust us, it looks better.
Why are torches such a problem in workshops? We've ended up using these eBay crap. But yeah, number 3 is good. Crank's good too. Okay, I got myself the annoying massive Milwaukee torch now. And number 4 Not
Just a little bit of wear, isn't there? But
nothing I'm too concerned about.
disastrous.
And again, the crank looks pretty good, and that's the thrust washers on that as well, which kind of look okay. Number 5, good. I'll just drop the oil on the camera. And that's good. Number 5. It's okay. Not the worst, but not the best. Happy on the crank?
Yeah, can't feel anything.
God,
with my
rained on still.
laser accurate finger with the glove on. Oh no,
That's a pretty scory one.
that's a bad one, isn't it?
That is.
Let me see if I can get that on camera. That torch is just,
Too blinding.
yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. It's deep, but
What's the crank saying?
it doesn't look too bad. Not that I can see. So that is front side of the crank, and I can't see anything
that's
there
all right.
at all.
I
So
can't see a mark on it at all.
it's just potentially just bearing damage, but yeah, that is pretty bad.
Okay, so the question is, are we going to...
We've got to look at the rods.
You want to look at them? You don't just want to yoink it, but...
I mean,
we can look
if the rods were really good, or
they-
even if they just looked worn, I mean, in theory, we could just put new bearings in this ourselves. It's that whole decision, isn't it? Because the moment this comes out, that's a massively slippery slope of me going, while we're here, we'll just do
Well,
this.
it's having a gearbox while we're here, isn't it?
Yeah, but what about a new turbo?
I mean, you'd want a downpipe bigger than this 1-inch special, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on.
Put this one back on, we'll talk this, then have a look at some rods. This time round, we decided to start at the back.
Looking for trouble.
Yeah, basically. I think the reason this engine has Marla pistons in it is because we had issues with number 6 for something, I can't even remember. But that was back when a 2JZ GTE complete engine was, I don't know, 800 quid? Something like that maybe?
They weren't too bad, were they?
Yeah.
I mean, NA ones were free, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
There we go.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that looks not too bad.
Not horrific, is it?
No. What does the crank look like?
Let's get a piece of clean towel. Cleanish towel. It's a bit stripy.
Yeah, it is, but nothing deep. I think that needs a polish though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
questionable, I guess.
Uncle Craig's here now. He says, fucking send it.
Yeah, man. Sweet. They're a bike or 2Js, aren't they?
I don't know about that.
No, seriously, you don't think it's in any way in need
No,
of
no.
anything?
I mean, they look absolutely
Unperfect.
I mean, you don't really know what's gone on with the engine, but
Yeah.
if I was taking that apart to inspect, 100% just put it back together.
Yeah. So there you go. You heard from the man himself, Craig Taylor. He says send it. That's what we're going to do. ACL Race Bearings have very kindly said they're going to just send us the bearings that we need for this project, which is fantastic. Again, I'm so happy to see the response to this car coming back to our ownership. People seem genuinely excited to be a part of getting this thing back up and running. So yeah, fantastic. Shouldn't be too long until we receive those and get that back together. But as I already mentioned, we're going to pull the gearbox and hopefully have it inspected, get that sold, and then having a word with our lovely friends at Quaife about getting a sequential gearbox in it as well. I've also heard back from Quartermaster on the replacement parts, trying to get those rushed over here so we can get the 8.6 back together as well. Yeah, lots going on. Bit of a random video. Hope you enjoyed it anyway. If you did, please give us a like as always and drop us a comment. All of your interaction helps build the channel, so we really appreciate it. And of course, to those of you that shop at driftworks.com, always much appreciated. We have just released a new website and it had a few teething issues, as you'd probably expect from something that we've spent nearly 2 years and knocking on for £750,000 quid building. So yeah, thanks to our customers for your patience as well. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.